Phil Hartman, who was an American-Canadian actor, comedian, screenwriter, graphic artist, and lots of things. I don't remember. He was born in Ontario, Canada, and moved to the United States when he was 10 years old. He became famous for his appearance in the show Saturday Night Live in the late 1980s. He won fame for his impressions, particularly to the President Bill Clinton, so he stayed in the show for 8 seasons. Hartman had been divorced twice before he got married with Brian O'Malley in the 1987. The couple began with a happy, beautiful partner, blah blah blah, but they began to have problems because of Brian's drug problems. On the evening of May 27, Brian Hartman visited a restaurant with his friend, who says he was in good frame of mind. After returning to the couple's house, Brian started a heated argument with her husband, the one who pretended to leave her if she continued drugging herself. After which, he went to bed. While Hartman slept, Brian got into the room after 3 a.m. and shot him twice in the head. After that, she took a car, went to her friend's house, and told him what, she had done. She killed her husband. Of course, the friend didn't believe her. He took her back to her home, and then he discovered she wasn't lying. While filming The Passion of Christ, the actor Jim Caviezel, the one who played the role of Jesus, was struck by lightning. The lightning blew Caviezel and his assistant, Michelle, while they were filming in a faraway location from Rome, like in 2 hours. Michelini had previously been struck by lightning while filming in Italy, which burned his fingers because, he was holding an umbrella in the middle of a storm with lights. During the second striking light, Mike Kibble described the situation. I was like 100 feet away when I realized the smoke was coming out from Jim Caviezel's ears. Because, seeing smoke coming from ears of people, it's normal. On October 12th of the 1984, the cast and crew were filming the 7th episode of the series, Golden Opportunity, on the stage 17 of the film. Hank Boone became bored while filming the scene, so he decided to begin to play with the gun he was going to be shot a few hours after that. Apparently, he had unloaded all the blanks in the gun, and in what will be appear as a game, he shot himself in the head. It seems that apparently he was unaware that his actions were dangerous. Blanks use paper or plastic wadding to seal gunpowder into the cartridge, and this wadding is propelled from the barrel of the gun with enough force to cause injury if it's shot a few meters away from the body. And he just did. At point-blank range, the effect of the power gases was like a small explosion. Although it didn't get into his head, there was enough blunt force trauma to quarter a small piece of his skull into his brain, causing a massive hemorrhage. Mans died on July 8 of 1960 while filming the movie The Flight of Phoenix, produced and directed by Robert Aldrich. Lying in a very unusual breakup that was built especially for the film, Mans struck in a small hillock while filming in a small desert part of Arizona. As Mans attempted to recover by opening the throttle to his maximum, the so overstressed aircraft couldn't resist it and broke in two, killing him immediately. In the early morning of July 23 in 1982, Morrow and 2 children, Mickey Lee, who was 6 years old, and Renee Shinji, who was 7 years old, were filming in the location of Ventura. The helicopter was hovering about 24 meters above them when some pyrotechnic explosion damaged it, causing it to crash above them. Morrow and Dean were decapitated by the helicopter's rotor, while Chen was crushed by the helicopter's strut.
Unconscious on his bed, he was found by his housekeeper. According to the police, her assistant got in early, and when she realized, she called 911. She immediately tried to apply the CPR maneuver guided by the 911 assistant, but it didn't work. The autopsy and toxicology report conclude that he had died in intoxication due to his medications he was prescribed with months ago. He suffered from anxiety. The weird thing is that no medic can prescribe such medications in such high rates like the ones were prescribed to Heath Ledger. The family agreed to leave the amount of $16.3 million to his daughter Matilda. In October, Forbes estimated his will in $20 million. 2 months later, a stranger found proof of an unknown child he had had when he was 17 years old. Now he was going to receive 50% of his belongings and his family the other 50%. On May 10, 1973, Lee collapsed in the Hong Kong studios while doing dubbing for the movie Enter Dragon, suffering from seizures and headaches. She was immediately translated to a hospital in Hong Kong. When he was diagnosed with cerebral edema, they were able to reduce the symptoms, but he died. He was going to have a meeting with the current James Bond. There was no actual visible damage to his body, but the autopsy reports his brain had shrunk considerably from 4,000 grams to 573 grams. At San Diego Comic-Con, Chuck Norris made a memorial for him. Next, Natalie Woods, who during her filming of the movie Brainstorm drowned while on a weekend boat trip. Many facts surrounding her drowning were unknown because no one admitted seeing how she died, which made it even less clear. The autopsy revealed she had bruises on her body. Later, in his book Pieces of My Heart, Wagner acknowledged that he had had a fight with her before she disappeared. Also, the autopsy revealed that she had a high level of alcohol in her bloodstream and 2 different types of medication. Later, the formal report said that she had drowned and died of hypothermia. Dennis Davern, his husband, told the news Dennis Davern told the news NBC that he had lied to the police. During the initial investigations, he lied about his fight with her. In 2012, some audio recordings were found. They didn't do anything. The filmmaking continued without her. The producer said she didn't have a stable role. Heather O'Rourke became ill when she was 12 and was misdiagnosed by doctors. She was prescribed with cortisone to reduce the effects of his disease, but the doctors made a wrong choice. The cortisone caused her to be puffy. Months later, she became ill again, and now she couldn't even stand up. The next day, she collapsed while going to the hospital with her father. She was airlifted to a hospital in San Diego. It was believed by his manager that she had died of influenza. There was a lawsuit raised by his family in order to make the doctors pay for what they did. She was supposedly cursed by the film, and due that the film had used a amount of real bodies during the filming, it was thought that one of the ghosts of the skeletons had got into her body and caused her suddenly die. This promoted a lot her movies Poltergeist and the sequel. John Candy, who died during the filming of a movie called Wagons East, died from a heart attack. The doctors point out that he died after a heart attack when he was cooking a late-night dinner of lasagna to his assistants.
Number 5. It's River Phoenix. On the evening of October 30, 1993, Phoenix was to perform with his close friend Michael Flea Bossary from the Red Hot Chili Peppers, outstaged at the Viper Room, a Hollywood nightclub party owned at that time by the actor Johnny Depp. Phoenix had returned to Los Angeles early that week from Utah to complete the 3 weeks of interior shots left on his last project, Dark Blue, and that was the film that he was filming when he died. So during the early morning hours of October 31, Phoenix collapsed outside and convulsed for over 5 minutes. When his brother Joaquin called 911, he was unable to determine whether Phoenix was breathing or not. So his sister Rain proceeded to give him mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. Number 4, Marilyn Monroe. Well, yes, Marilyn Monroe was filming when she died. He was filming the movie called The Misfits. It was in 1961 when she started to film this movie, and it was in 1962 when she died. Marilyn Monroe was found dead in the bedroom of their Brentwood home by her psychiatrist Ralph Grinson after he called by Monroe's housekeeper Eunice Murray on August 5, 1962. She was 36 years old at the time of her death. Her death was ruled to be acute barbiturate poisoning by Dr. Thomas Nauchi of Los Angeles County Coroner's Office and listed as probably suicide. Many people say this is not true. Many people think Marilyn Monroe was murdered, but we don't know exactly what happened because she did drugs and everything. So this maybe could be one of the most varied conspiracy theories of all time. Number 3. The 28th on January 2007, a freak accident occurred on the set of the sci-fi film Jumper, resulting in the death of a crew member by the name of David Ritchie. The crew of Jumper were wrapping up their film in Toronto. David Ritchie, that was 56 years old, was pronounced dead on the scene after a piece of frozen sand and gravel fell from the top of a wall, and an outdoor said that he and others were dismantling. Number 2, Harry L. O'Connor. This one was this stunt double on the XXX action movie. Was killed in a scene in which he was supposed to rappel down a parasailing line and land on a submarine. When O'Connor tried to wrap down the line fast enough, he hit a bridge at high speed and was killed instantly. His death was caught on camera, and it's really creepy, really. And director Ralph Cohen decided to include the footage on the scene, with the final moments edited out as a matter of respect for the stuntman's final act. I think that is kind of, I don't know, brave, because he died doing what he loved. Number 1, I think this is the biggest accident that had happened in a film set. So let's talk about it. This accident happened on the set of the Twilight Zone movie. Well, there is this film produced by Steven Spielberg. The actor Vic Morrow and child actors Michael Dean Lee, who had an age of 7 years, and Renee Shin Chen with an age of 6 years. They were really young, they were child. Died in an accident involving a helicopter being used on the set. So the helicopter was flying at an altitude of only 25 feet. That would be like about 8 meters. And it was too low to avoid the explosion of the pyrotechnics used on the set. So when the blast severed the tail rotor, it spun out of control and crushed, decapitating Morrow and Lee with its blades. There was a lot of blood there, man. I can't even imagine. And Chen, the other girl, was crushed to death as the helicopter crashed and everyone inside the helicopter survived, sustaining minor injuries. Can you believe it? The ones that didn't have the fault of the accident were the ones who died, and the ones who made the accident happen are now alive and they're not in jail. I think this is totally unfair, and no one's gonna do anything, and these girls won't back to life. So this was our 15th top. So I hope you enjoyed it. Just give us good comments and see you.